Welcome back to the Timeline Ranch. I'm up here on Conversation Point. Thought I'd make a video showing kind of the overall plans for the ranch. I made one a long time ago. If you go back and watch almost the very first, well, it is the very first video. It kind of gives you an idea of what my thoughts were at that time. Of course, they've developed over the years. So I'll point out and talk about each kind of category from up here, and then we'll go down to each spot and check them out in person. There we are looking down on the valley where the building and most of the work's been done. So our pond, I'll talk about water first because that's the most important thing out here. Everything else you can make do, but no water, no ranch. So this pond will be 1,000 foot long when it's completed. The widest point will be about 120 feet in this section here. I'm doing phase one right now. It'll be 25 feet deep and around 340 feet long. And then I'm going to go another 200 feet that way. And then this way will be that other 500, a little less than 500 feet. It'll be a good bit of water out here. And the catchment for this area is all this valley right here flows into it. The entire side of this mountain right here, all the way over to where you see it start going up right in here, all that comes down this main creek right here to dump into the pond. Along this roadside, because it's sloping down, as you can see, there'll be a whole bunch of leaky weirs and little check dams to slow the water down. I'm going to make a terrace coming out the side of this on contour. All that water that's shooting off the side of this, this ridge right here, will catch in little pockets. About every 30 feet I'll plant a palm tree, a date palm, Phoenix dactylifera. On the other side of the road there'll also be a few leaky weirs. I've already done one. If you caught that video, there'll be some palms planted along there. I've got one more leaky weir down in the creek to do, on the main bodied creek. There's a North Creek. It comes in right in that area and runs up here, but it's just from this portion of the valley right here. This road right here is going to come across it, so I'm going to pile a whole bunch of just real big rock and no culvert. So the water will pile up behind that, drop any sediment that's in it, and then flow out a little cleaner. That's going to be the bridge basically for that creek. I'll put a few more little checks in. A lot of this area out here is going to be pond though later once I get to that stage. As far as buildings, there'll be a little covered area down there on a lower portion by the pond that won't ever go underwater, but it'll be just about 5-6 inches above the water line when the pond's completely full. So it'll just be a little shady area with a picnic table. There'll be some fruit trees planted down there. There's going to be, on the other side of the main creek that feeds the pond, multiple dome cabins. They'll be for people to rent when they want to stay here at the ranch for the weekend, or even a week when all the mountain bike trails are in place, or you could use them for walking trails as well. There'll be some more cabins out in this area. A little hydroelectric building right on the side of the road there. There'll be another dome structure made out of stone here at the ranch for water tanks. That's basically the water tower. One will be from just straight pond water, and one will be well water that's pumped up there, and it'll use gravity. It's about 100 feet down to there. As far as other little features, right there in the roundabout, there's going to be a fountain, pretty large fountain, and it'll get its water from the upper pond, and there'll be an additional pump that I can pump water from the lower pond to give it water. I may put a small fountain on the other side of the building too, in that little courtyard area. This road here is going to keep coming down, circle around what will be pond later, and go out to the corner of the south 40 acres. That's the northeast corner I just looked at. I'll probably build a few little leaky weirs down this as well. There'll be a bunch of leaky weirs on the side of the road here, slowing that water down. This road, as it comes across this North Creek, will have a bunch of stone there to slow the water down and act as a bridge for the road to go over it. As far as power, I'm going to have a 6 kilowatt solar, photovoltaic solar array on the south side of the building. And also above the well, there's going to be a covered area that'll have more solar panels. On this ridge right here, where I can take advantage of that wind hitting the hill and rising, gaining speed, and building, going up that hill, there'll be 5 2,000 watt wind turbines, vertical axis. And then we'll also have the hydroelectric building, which will use water from the lower pond that's pumped up during the day with excess solar power to gravity feed back down through 2 3,000 watt hydroelectric generators that I can stage. So overall plans though, when I get more time out here, the pace is gonna pick up considerably. Right now I'm lucky to get 4 weeks a year, and that's just here recently that's happened. So before that I was getting 2.5 to 3, for a good year, been able to come out here. So it'll be a learning center for renewable energies, permaculture, and offer cabins and camping for people that are interested in the mountain bike trails and just coming and enjoying the nature out here, because as you can see, very scenic. Not a whole lot to look at out here besides nature. Well, let's go walk around. I'll show you the different sites and get into more detail on each subject. There we are at the back 40-acre southeast corner. We'll talk about the water features here right now. So we've got the lower pond. I'm going to come 50 feet off of this south-facing fence line in, and then it'll drop down and have a little ledge that's the same elevation as that other portion over there. It'll have about 10 inches of water over it when the pond's completely full, but as it dries out, that'll be above the water line. So there'll be a shelf that runs all the way down this side here, multiple trees planted every 20 feet, nut trees and some other varieties. Off the edge of that, it's going to drop straight down to 25 feet deep, and it's going to stay deep for a good little portion here. This is all going to be cut down a little bit because there'll be some cabins out here made out of the stone on the property, similar to an igloo. On the inside you'll see the stone face. I think there'll be nice little cabins later. Anyway, so through here will be all deep, 25 feet. You can see this looks like a picture from Mars if you took that little bit of vegetation out of here. There's not a whole lot going on here. So from that edge, it's about 200 feet over here. So the pond will be about 60 to 80 feet wide, 25 foot deep on this side, and then I'll probably bring that up on a 45-degree slant. I may make another little beach area over here. I'll have to think about that one. There we are at the south end of the pond. You can see that shelved area I was talking about. Yeah, that's going to carry on all the way down to that point. So here, this will all be 25 foot deep. You can see how that's just going to drop straight down. That's almost all rock right there. None of that's going to erode off. That's going to stay looking just like that for a couple 100 years at least. I'm going to build rock all along this edge here on this side of the pond. So this is the deepest spot in the pond right here. It's 13 foot 6. Still got about 12 feet deeper to go in that little spot. There's a lot of rock veins through here. I know some people have voiced concern about this sloughing off, and it's just not going to do it with those layers of rock in there like they are. There was a couple spots over here where I had to build those little retention walls due to the rock layer dipping down right there and nothing in that portion. But you can see, what I'm going to do to fix it as it happens. Over here, it's pretty good though. It's got a lot of rock layers in it. And that over there is almost all rock. So a bunch of big rock, similar to what's right there, all along this edge. Right there, I'm not going to put rock. I'm going to let vegetation grow in. That's going to be actually underwater when the pond's completely full. It'll be lapping on that edge where you see those little raised planters. That would be underwater just for about a week if the pond filled completely and overflowed. So this area right here is going to be a riverbed gravel beach. There'll be some palm trees in there, Phoenix dactylifera, riverbed gravel down to where it's going to drop down to that 25 foot. I'll put some big rocks where you can kind of discern where the edge is at. Big boulders, like similar to those over there. About every 4 feet. And that's where I'll stop the gravel. I may make a little wall out of those to stop the gravel from sloughing off over time into that lower section. This will all be 25 foot deep through here. Starting right in this area, there's going to be a radius that's going to come out. You see that elevation where it drops down and stops. It's going to come out 25 more feet and continuous radius going around. Let's go up there where you can see. So you can kind of see the edge of the radius that I'd laid out. It starts here and comes all the way around. And it's going to end right here. You see this little cutout. So all this will drop down steep, similar to what I did over there. And then it'll be that same plane, which is above this elevation, so that I won't have to worry about it flooding. On the edge of that, it'll drop steep, just straight down into that 25 foot depth. There'll be a nice little deep channel coming through here. Right here in the roundabout, there's going to be a fountain. Right here, centered on this roundabout. I got a roundabout right here. Comes around. There'll be a pretty good sized fountain here, probably 20 foot circle. It'll get water from 2 sources. I'll have one feed coming out of the hydroelectric building for the water for the fountain. Some of it will be coming from the upper pond through that gravity feed system I'm going to set up, which will also power those hydroelectric generators off that 6-inch line. And another one will be water that's pumped up from the lower one, fed back into that siphon feed system, but it could, feed this fountain as well. I'm going to make it overflow. It'll kind of go down a little babbling creek and then dump into a sump, kind of like a Zuni bowl look. Go in a culvert under the road right here. Pop back out on that descent, down to that level plane on that radius. And I'll make a little creek that splits off into two and dumps back into the pond. It'll help oxygenate the pond as well. This is more of an aesthetic feature. It will be functional though. So over here is that radius coming around. It's going to go back around and tie into the side of the road here. And then this will drop steep. All this will be 25 foot deep and through here. Following that edge that I've got established there, I'll just keep it coming down. That shelved area will keep coming down as well, so I can plant trees along here. All this area out here is pond, future pond. I'm going to make a little drive that comes off of that road because I'll have some cabins out in this area. There's our North Creek that feeds the pond. It just feeds from that ridge line around to here. That portion comes this way. So we've got about 200 feet further from where you see that wall that steps up out to that phase 2 of the pond. Phase 1 is the section I'm digging on up to about right here where I'm standing. And that's about 340 feet. So we're at 540 to here, and they're going to have another 460 out that way, which will make it right at 1,000 foot long. I'm going to turn, because this goes up so much, I'm going to turn that bank that's level across here where the trees are planted on and kind of follow that edge and then curve it back out, and it'll have a section that's about 120 feet wide and 25 foot in the deepest point. I may make a little beach area on this side as well at some point, but those cabins will be across there. Let's go to about where the edge of the pond will be when it's completed. I'm going to bring it out to right in this area. So it'll kind of, I've been going kind of straight along that property line, but I'm about to turn because this goes up so much. And bring it through here. It'll have that shelved area with the trees down it. I'll keep that shelved area going around and plant trees around to there. And I'll probably drop it steep on this side and then maybe have a little beach area right in there. Let's go right over there to the creek. I'll show you a few things over there. There we are at the main creek that feeds into the pond. This is the big leaky weir that I made. It's about 25 feet from this edge to this edge here. This was the first one. I'm going to do another one where we have about 3 feet of rise, about a meter rise. Build it across here. And up that rest of that creek, I'm going to leave it how it is. It's a pretty good system that's already in place that nature made there. I don't want to disturb, those scrub oaks too much. This is the only place in this whole area, probably within 30-40 miles, that has those, that I'm aware of anyway. So that's the only feature I'm going to build over here. There's going to be a road, this road that comes through right here. It's going to turn and go up that little side of that mountain there. And on the back side of it, as that water comes down, there'll be multiple little check dams to slow it down and catch it, make it soak into that road fill, and then it'll dump back into this creek. I'll probably direct it so it's behind that other leaky weir there. Let's go up there on the road. So there we are at the hydroelectric building pad. This is going to be kind of a junction point for water from the well. That's going to go up to the tanks that'll be on the top, and water from the pond that's coming from a pump over here. That'll also feed that fountain there that's in the middle of that roundabout. Right here I'll have an option to feed it from either the siphon line or from the tank up there or the pump directly. As far as on this side of the road, similar to what I've already done, light through here. I'm going to put some more of this rock just to shield it from getting eroded over time. Let's start on this road that's going north towards that high ridge that I started the video out on. So starting from here, I'm going to make one leaky weir. It'll come through that one and then hit the side of a terrace. And that terrace is going to run on contour all the way down. I haven't decided if I'm going to take it all the way to the creek, the North Creek that feeds the pond, or possibly stop it, before that. So as that water comes down, it's going to catch that first leaky weir, hit the side of this terrace along with the rest of this water that's sheeting off the side. There'll be little pockets with Phoenix dactylifera palms planted, date palms, in little pockets about every 30 feet. I'm going to put another leaky weir right in here, and then ever so often I'll put a little one rock dam or possibly a little leaky weir down to trap the water on this side of the road. That'll infiltrate into the soil that's not really been compacted when I built this road, and wick out and feed all this vegetation down here. It's going to green up real nice over time. I'll probably plant a few palms down this side too, maybe at each one of those little check dams. As it comes downhill right here, I'm going to make a little berm right here where the water could keep flowing down. Right in this area where this road junction is, I'm going to make a little ponding area. This one will come down and spill into the pond, and then it'll spill out of it into a swell that'll run along this side of the road. It'll be a swell / bar ditch. And as it goes down, I'll probably take the road down slightly, so I'll have little step downs on that, and eventually it's going to flow all the way down and dump in the North Creek on this upper side of the road. I'll pile a bunch of rock in that creek as kind of similar like a culvert, but just a really slow culvert system, because it's not, it's a lot of water if we get heavy rain, but most of the time it's not, and that should work good. So that's pretty much it. You have your terrace up higher, and then this other catchment down here should work real good. That's going to saturate all this road fill, and then down here you'll see the benefits of it coming out. Let's go back up the road a little further. There we are on the side of the road. This is where it drops down probably 30 feet at least. It's pretty far ways down there. We'll build another leaky weir right here, all the way across till I hit a level plane. I'm going to drop it down about a meter below the height of this leaky weir that's already in place. That one's probably 2 meters from the top to the bottom there. Kind of gives you a judgment. This one will be a lot higher. This whole road's going to slope from this bumper curve that I made in this direction and dump into that other water catchment system. I'll build a little small leaky weir right in here ahead of that one, about a meter higher. You can see this is all solid rock out here. So this road's going to go up that direction to service that building that'll be on the top with the tanks, the 600-gallon water tanks. The water sheeting off of here is going to come down, hit the side of that road, and channel down. I'll put a few little checks to slow it down, and then I'm going to make a ponding area. Put a couple 6-inch culverts to restrict the flow. Make it come under this road fill and dump into here, and it'll go down to that little catchment system with those 3 leaky weirs there. Some of it will also, I'll make it have a spillover point where it dumps over and continues down and follows this rock bankment I'm going to build up here. I'll have a few parking spots right here looking out on that nice scenic view. And then it'll get caught on that terrace system. Let's go up there where that building is going to be. So that road I was talking about is going to come up, come around these rocks right here, come through right here, and this will be a pad for that water tank building. There'll be two 600-gallon tanks in here. So that 6-inch line, that siphon line will follow that road fill up to this building. This will be the high point, and then it'll go back down, following along that grade there to the upper pond, which is going to be right in there. That's pretty much it for water features up on this side. Let's go over there where that upper pond's at. So here we are at the top of the main creek that feeds the pond, dumps in on the south end of it right now. On the side of this hill right here, I'm going to build a rock dam across to this other hill on a level plain, nice and wide. It'll probably be 150 foot across, maybe 200 feet. Good solid rock dam. It'll be probably 25 foot thick and about 5 foot high. Good solid one that can't get washed out of there. And then it'll just cascade over that. All this is rock through here, so you really don't have to worry about erosion on the backside of it. I think it'll be a good little feature on this spot. And that'll add a considerable amount of volume to this upper pond. Let's get on the other side of this fence. So this fence is not a property line. It was ran back in the 40s or 50s, just on whatever place was easiest to run a fence. On the back 40 acres, I own about 12 acres on this side of the fence line. This is the edge of the property right here, through these T-posts. We're walking west. That would be the south facing fence line. Yeah, that rock dam will come from the edge of here right over to the side of that other solid rock area. I said about 5 feet high, 25 foot wide, and it'll just be level. It'll be a big spillway for the entire upper water catchment. So currently, anything on this side of that little ridge flows out of the property. It doesn't go to the lower pond. It's everything from the side of the mountain all the way back to that other ridge over there comes this way. So this was, I'm probably going to do about 120 foot circle pond here. And I may do a little step down level area to plant some trees around it as well, like I did on the lower one. I don't know how deep I can get here before I hit rock. I can't get through though. The higher up you get, the more solid the rock is. So that dam's going to add a good bit of volume. So during the day when I have excess solar power, I'll pump water from that lower pond up to the water tank building that's going to be right over there. And it'll flow back down into this upper pond. And I may just keep it going, you know, even when this pond's full, and it can overflow and run down the creek and dump back in the lower pond. It'll put some oxygen and, you know, put some more water in the ground. Maybe I'll develop a little spring, you know, down there over time. I'm going to get as deep as I can up here though. If I could hit 25 feet, I'll try that. If I can't get down to that, I'll get as deep as I can. It's going to be a good bit of catchment. Let's walk right over here. There's potential to catch considerably large amount of water if I deem it necessary. It may be too much though. Let's go look. Those are that same fence line, south facing fence line. We're looking west. All this water is going off the property, and that's a pretty sizable creek right there. When I dig the spoils out of this upper pond, I can use that to barricade this off with a earth and rock dam and re-divert it to the lower portion. There's an additional creek up there that I could cut a channel through and block it to bring it this way, but I don't know that I need that much water. I'll have to play it by ear and kind of watch what it does with the rain that I'm getting. At this point, with that amount of catchment, it may be too much. This can be done later. I'm probably going to do this section right here though for sure. I don't know about that other one up there. It's a pretty good amount of water as well. Let's go right over here to the road. There we are back on the road. The tank building is right up there on that ridge. Get your bearings straight. The upper pond is right over in here. This road goes north. So right in here, this water that's sheeting off of here, I'm going to make another little roundabout here. But on the back side of that, I'll cut a little channel with some rock, little checks in there. Right here, I'll dig down a little sump hole, fill it with rock, and put rock underneath this portion. And I'll let the water boil back up and pop out and run down into the upper pond. With the spoils, some of the spoils out of that upper pond, I'm going to cap. You see how this road dips down right there? All that's real powdery, like a sugar sand. I'm going to cap that with about 2 foot of good, rocky aggregate that's coming out of there. So what that's going to do, everything on this side is going to be dammed. I'll just make little pockets for it to pool in, and I'll plant a Phoenix dactylifera at each one of those spots, so you have some palms going down this side. I'll plant some on the other side of the road as well, on the areas as I observe, moisture starting to show signs on the other side. I'll plant one there. So we're heading north right now, well, kind of northwest. The road turns up there where it looks like it stops and goes true north. Let's go over there. So there we are where the road turns true north. It's north. That's looking back kind of southeast. All this area out here has a gradual slope towards what will be the upper pond. There's a lot of areas I could potentially put swells through there. That'll be later down the road though. I'm trying to get these bigger earthworking projects that catch the water before it gets off the property. They can hold a good amount of volume. Our 3040 model is right over here. Let's walk over there and look at it. So here we are at the 3040 model. That's looking south. That's west. I don't know if you caught the video when I did this, but there's one on building this and what the thought process is behind it. At this sump, I'm going to plant a palm tree right here. And then I'll plant another one in that corner over there down this trench on this other separated 3040 model. The water that's sheeting off of all this upper elevation coming down here, hitting this trench that goes around the border of the 3040 models. I'm probably going to extend it out to that ridge over there so that everything in this area is channeled down into this little pond here. You can see the creosote bushes look a little better over here where this water was pooling. So I'm going to dig this out considerably deeper than what it is right now. You can see it's already holding water long enough to get some plants that you only find where there's a water source that stays for a few months at a time. That's mule fat, Baccharis It's the first species that shows up at a new water source. What follows that is willow, and then cottonwood eventually. It may take 100 years for that process to happen, but that's usually the route that happens. So this is probably going to be probably 80 foot across, and I'll get it down, you know, probably 25 feet deep so I can make it 2 years with no rain. I may use that as a source to pump water up and try irrigating the 3040 model if I don't get any results when I get some normal years. I really haven't had a good monsoon season since I built it, so it's really hard to, you know, say if it works or not in this area. You can see the vegetation along the side of it looks a little greener though. As you come out away from it, it's pretty dry. So it is already doing some good. This creosote looks pretty decent because of this pool of water that is trapped in here. So this is the northwest corner of the south 40 acres. This is the start of the west 40 acres. So this is the back corner of it. There's an easement, 15-foot easement down each property line out here. So this is that corner. So all that's part of the ranch as well. Out there, another 40 acres. Everything I've been walking and talking about is on the south 40 acres. There's my little grave site, my mock grave site that I made to scare off intruders. I haven't seen any intruders since I built it, so maybe it's working. Let's go north a little bit more on this road. There's some more water catchment features I'm planning on doing in the future. So with some of the spoils out of this little pond here, I'm going to fill this in so it's a nice gradual climb up to that steep point. And that'll dam the water on this side, on the back side of this road here. And it'll green up on this side and on the lower side. I don't own this 40 acres over here currently. I'm hoping in the future, maybe 10, 15 years down the road, finances will allow for me to approach the gentleman that owns that property. We'll see. Yeah, I'd like to fill all this in right here. It'd be a pretty good little catchment off all this. It sheds this way. There's more features, water catchment features that way, but that's way down the line in the future, and I don't know if I'm gonna live long enough to do it. So this is definitely on my to-do list. I'd like to get this done while I'm still capable of doing it. Let's go back and talk about road, building locations, different types of buildings, energy. So here we are up on the top where the tank building will be. It's going to be a stone dome structure. You see the building down there. The road will come up right in here. I'll build a pad right here for it. Probably gonna, I'm thinking 14-foot diameter dome. The sides will come up 4 feet high, vertical, and then it'll start to make the dome shape after that. So it should be about 18 feet in the center at the peak of the ceiling. There's going to be another little road that goes alongside here because there's going to be some 2,000 watt vertical axis wind turbines, and I need to be able to run conduit, and all this is solid rock, so I'll just put that soil in there where I can run that pipe in it. I'm going to put 5 2,000 watt vertical axis wind turbines down this ridge, and what that's going to do is take advantage of this wind coming up the side of this mountain, and it builds speed, so you'll get a lot more energy output out of it. They'll come, although those conduits will come into this building as well. It'll be a junction point and then head back down. Let's walk kind of around where this road's gonna go for this building. So I thought about it a few different ways, but this seems like the most logical path. It gives me a little bit more distance to build it up so it's not too steep. So that 6-inch line, there's going to be a 6-inch PVC line that's a siphon line, and it'll start in this upper pond area and run up and meet this road fill right here and go to this building, and it'll come up out of the floor in there. I'll have a bleed point where I can get the air out of it and prime it, and then from there it'll come back down and follow this road around. Those conduit off of those wind turbines will be going down this road as well. I'll fill all this in right here. I'll pick out the good stones, the boulders, use them for aesthetic features and different things through the ranch. So it'll turn, the road's going to turn right in here and then go down and meet that other road right there. So that other siphon line on the downhill side where it's going to feed the hydroelectric building will go down this way. You can see this is all solid rock with a little bit of decent soil in the cracks. But pretty much everything else is solid rock. So you kind of have to fill it in to be able to run conduit, unless you just want to leave it exposed. And I don't like the look of conduit exposed. That road will come down. Through here. Tie in right there. Probably have to relocate that Sotal and that Ocotillo. As far as buildings though, that's the only thing I'm thinking at this point on this side of the back 40 acres. This portion of the road is going to have a little scenic outlook right there in my build. I'll put some of those big boulders to stop you from wanting to drive off the edge there. I've got some nice ones I've already plucked out. Still going downhill with that siphon line. That's a nice big old boulder there. That thing's about 6 foot across, probably 2.5 foot thick. It was pretty heavy. The excavator barely picked it up. So right here, the siphon line is going to come out and then turn and drop down on a 45 into our hydroelectric building. All those conduits with that power off those 3-phase wind turbines, the PMAs, they'll be coming down here as well. Junction in here, and then they'll go to a little mechanical room that's going to be on the side of the biggest dome structure that I have planned currently at the ranch. It'll be right there. There'll be 2 3,000 watt hydroelectric generators right there. I can stage them where if I don't need that much power, I can just run one, and even control how fast it's going for the power output that I need. Off of this, which will be the wastewater off of those hydroelectric generators, I'm going to put another low head pressure hydroelectric generator that'll dump into the creek, the main creek that feeds the pond. So that'll be suspended or possibly just mounded rock material to keep that grade going. And then I need about 10 foot of head height for the low head pressure hydroelectric generator I'm looking at. I have plan A is that siphon line off the upper pond. If for some reason I can't get enough of a siphon going, what I'll do is build a holding area for water and put a liner in it up ahead of that tank building. So either way, I'll have hydroelectric storage capacity, either in the upper pond or in that catchment area. So that's the hydroelectric setup, and here I'm going to do another 14-foot dome, and it'll house those hydro generators, and I'll make a loft in the top of it for storage. Let's go down this way, heading north down the road. So there's that ridge I was up on at the start of this video. This road's going to keep going north. I'm going to hit the side of that bank at this contoured height. I'll turn and then go up over that other rock ledge up there down into that little valley that's in the northeast corner of the South 40. Right here off the roundabout where that fountain's going to be. There'll be another road that comes in, kind of hugging the back side of this road for this lower section. I'm going to put a few cabins out here along what will be the pond, and they'll probably be 14-foot diameter as well. Those will be cabins that'll be rented for people that are interested, come to stay at the ranch for a while. Enjoy this little oasis I made out here. I'm thinking probably 6 domes on this side. I'm thinking about on those making them independent, so they have their own little solar system and maybe a little wind turbine, you know, like on a 24-volt setup. The higher voltage you can go on the DC side, the less expensive it is. So yeah, I think I might make those independent and then have option to feed from a central, you know, power plant from the main building. Let's go over by the big building. So right here, I'm going to come 13 foot off of the existing awning to allow for another 13 foot of awning. There'll be a little valley there where it catches the rainwater and channels it into an underground tank. I'm going to build a 25-foot diameter dome here out of the stone as well. It'll be 2-story. There'll also be that little utility room that's going to have water heaters and you know, a junction point for power. There'll be a little electrical section inside there as well, separate, you know, from the water. So that's going to be a nice size structure here. The biggest dome that I have planned currently is going right there. Over here in this little radius area, I'll just have a picnic table with a little covered area. Over the well, I'm going to build another little structure for a roof. It won't be enclosed though, just some shade and a place to put some more solar panels. So I'll have a 2 kilowatt PV set up on that one. And if you caught the video, I've got conduit ran underground for that purpose. Right here where this little temporary building I built with the shower and outhouse, battery bank and these solar panels, all this will be relocated to another spot on the ranch, and it'll be a place that people can pit stop on their bike ride to get some water and you know, get out of the sun. But once that's moved, I'm going to dig a little pit here, and there'll be a basement. Probably going to do a 14-foot diameter on this one as well, maybe 16. So it'll have a basement, and that's where the main electrical setup will be for the, you know, inverters, the charge controllers, the power from those wind turbines will come in here. The hydroelectric power will come in here. Power off of this roof that's over the well will come in here. I'll make a little corridor underground and another little dome that'll be like a root cellar setup. On top of that, I'll build a structure, a single-story structure with just a little loft in the top of it for like a workshop right here. There'll be a tank. I should have talked about it on the other section, but there'll be a 30,000 gallon concrete tank right here. All the rainwater off the roof will dump into it, and I'll also be able to pump water from the well into that tank when the pond has water in it. And you see right now it doesn't, which is good and bad. It's good so I can dig the bottom of the pond out, but it's not good for all the trees that are trying to come back to life for the spring. But once it's full, it'll just have an overflow that dumps back into the pond. So going south over here, probably going to put 5 more domes over here, that same size, about a 14-foot. Again, cabins for people to stay in. later. They'll be up on this section. There's going to be an upper road that comes up there. That'll be a good place to leave some of the spoils out of this section of the pond as well. I think it'll be a nice little setup once it's done. Well, I hope that walk around made it a little easier to understand the layout, at least for the south 40 acres. I've got a lot of work to do, as you can see. It'll speed up considerably. You know, now I've got 3 to 4 weeks a year to work on the place, and you're looking at about 10 years of that pace, you know, to get this thing done. When I'm here full time, it'll go a lot faster. So when it's all said and done, it'll be a real nice place to come bike ride, walk trails, enjoy nature in a peaceful setting, a really natural setting. There's no buildings or, you know, anything around here besides what's here at the ranch, as far as I can see for the most part. It'll be a nice place to be. And it'll be a good place to understand how permaculture features work and seeing them, you know, long-term aspect on how they perform, along with renewable energy and, you know, what's possible if you have enough motivation to make it happen. Well, if you like what I'm doing out here and you want to help speed it up, there's some ways in the description to do that. I've got Buy Me a Coffee is probably the easiest way. You can donate to the ranch. Amazon's on there as well. So every little bit helps speed the process up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.